one of the main reasons why people purchase Teslas are Autopilot. And I've got here 3 cars. Each of them have different tiers of Autopilot. So there is a base Autopilot, there's enhanced Autopilot, and there is full self-driving. And in this video, I would like to show you in real life what is the difference between them. And first, we start with base Autopilot. And to see what kind of autopilot your vehicle has or the vehicle that you are planning to buy has, you go to menu and then go to software, and here you will see, in this case, it just says autopilot. And this autopilot is also known as base autopilot. In rare occasions, when you are, for example, planning to buy a used vehicle, a used Tesla, some of them, they say autopilot safety features. When you see that, it means that the car does not have autopilot, even though it is capable of having autopilot, but it was not purchased. Be aware of it, because it costs $3,000 to add autopilot. Since April 2019, Tesla adds base autopilot to every vehicle that they are selling. If the vehicle is older than April 2019, just be careful when you're buying. This specific vehicle has autopilot. When we go under autopilot, we'll have 2 options: traffic aware cruise control or auto steer. When you put cruise control, basically we'll have adaptive cruise control. When you add auto steer as well, basically it will keep you in lane, and will have adaptive cruise control. And you will have an option to choose between double pull or single pull to activate autopilot. By pull, it means pulling this lever. If you pull it down once, your autopilot engages because it is choosing single pull. When you choose double pull, when you pull it once, traffic cruise control, adaptive cruise control kicks in. But if you pull it twice, then auto steer kicks in. It all depends what is close to you or what you prefer. And there are some limitations that base autopilot has. To demonstrate it, we have to start driving. To activate base autopilot, you have to drive on a street that has clear and visible lanes. If it does not have clear and visible lanes, you cannot activate autopilot. And to see if the autopilot is ready to be activated, you have to look at this corner, and it should show you the steering wheel. In this case, it does not show a steering wheel. It means that this vehicle, right now, I cannot engage autopilot. If I pull it twice, it says auto steer temporarily unavailable because it doesn't see the clear lanes. And of course, it will not stop at any stop sign, at anything, because basically in this kind of street, you cannot even activate it. Even if you could activate it and there are visible lanes, it will not stop at the stop signs. It will not stop at the traffic lights if it is red. And as we are getting into main street, there are clear lanes, and here we see the steering wheel appeared. And as our activation is double click, we pull this lever twice, and auto steer is active, and it will keep at that speed. And right now we are going fully on autopilot. Base autopilot relies only on lanes. In cases where the car doesn't see any lane, it will ask you to take over, or it will slow down, or in some rare occasions it will just scratch or hit whatever that is in there, because this is not the perfect autopilot. And as you see on this display, when it doesn't see any lanes, it kind of assumes stuff, and it keeps to that side where the lane is visible. Right now, for example, it sees the car in front, and that's why it slows down. But in this case, it is red. It doesn't slow down because it doesn't understand. And in this specific case, it showed to take over or press brake, even though it is capable of stopping, but it doesn't stop because it doesn't have full self-driving. You have to pay in order to have all those options, even though it is capable of doing everything. That's why when it saw red traffic light, it beeped and it asked to take over. Right now we are getting the freeway, and I'll show you a few things while we are driving on freeway. And for example, we are on the traffic light and we have to make a left turn, Even though there is a map that is asking it to make a left turn, most likely it will not it will make a turn because it doesn't clearly see the lanes and it doesn't follow the navigation because it is base autopilot. Let's see what it does in this case. For example, the car starts moving and we are moving as well. You just go straight and you have to manually turn it. And of course, when you turn the steering wheel manually, the autopilot disengages. And right now we are on a freeway and the lanes are clear and we engaged autopilot. Right now we are merging into left lane. It will not turn on any turn signal. It will just keep you between the lanes. And with this scroll wheel, I put the higher speed limit and it starts speeding up. And what it is relying right now is the car in front of it and the lanes, left and right lane. Base autopilot cannot change lane as well. For example, when you are on freeway, as I am right now, and you want to change lanes, there is no way to change lane beside disengaging autopilot and then engaging it back on. To demonstrate it, for example, I want to turn right, I turn on the turn signal, but the car stays in this lane. In order for me to merge, I have to turn manually and auto steer disengages. And to engage it again, I pull it twice and now the auto steer is engaged. Basically, I have autopilot. It sees that you are turning, it will slow down so that you are not going full speed. Even though the highest speed I put here is 65, it still keeps it 53 and 54. And only now, as it is clear, straight lane, straight road, it starts speeding up. And I want to merge to the left lane. I turn on the signal, still nothing happens, and I have to manually turn it. When I am on this lane, then I engage it again, and it keeps going. The other thing that base autopilot doesn't have is summon. When you look at your app, there will be no summon listed here. When you have enhanced autopilot or full self driving, you will have summon, and I'll show you what summon is right now. And if you want to use summon, you just go into summon, and then you'll have an option to put navigation somewhere, and you ask the vehicle to come to that specific location, or you can manually move it forward or move it backwards. When, for example, right now I want to move it forward, I just click the arrow button that's showing forward, and the car will start moving. As long as it doesn't see any obstacle in front of it, it will keep moving unless you release. And in this case, let's go in front of it and see if it stops. Yes, you can see it stopped, not hitting any obstacle. And let's get into the road and I'll show you a few other things as well. And to see also what kind of autopilot it has, we go to software. And in this case, we have enhanced autopilot included package. And when we go under autopilot section, we see that we have adaptive cruise control and also auto steer beta. You don't see any additional stuff here except this part. We still have single pull or double pull to activate the autopilot, but here we have navigate on autopilot. For example, when you turn it on, it means that when you are navigating somewhere and you put navigation on the Tesla, and it will see that you have to merge. It will merge lanes. It will change lanes so that you go to your exit, and it will get you to that exit out of freeway. And basically, it comes back to our base autopilot. It will not stop at the stop signs, stuff like that. And you have an option to customize. For example, you have these few customizations. Enable at start at every trip, speed base, lane change, exit passing lanes, or require lane change confirmation. I prefer it to be yes, because when it decides to change lanes, it will ask confirmation to change lanes. If you don't turn it on, basically automatically it changes lanes, whatever it thinks that fits its thinking or its navigation. And we are going through the same street that we did base autopilot with. And here the same thing happens. It relies on clear, visible lanes. As this street doesn't have any lanes, I cannot engage auto steer anything because it doesn't see any lanes. And the only time I can engage it is when I go to the main street and there is clear and visible lanes. As we are on the main street, let's engage it. Right now the auto steer and autopilot is engaged, and it shows visible lanes, shows that it is seeing all the lanes. And right now we are getting into red traffic, and it doesn't stop at all, even though it forced me to brake. It showed me the signs take over and brake hard, but if I didn't brake, it would just go through the intersection, which is pretty bad. And if you want the vehicle to take exits and navigate on autopilot, what you have to click on is down here. For example, when you turn it off, it goes into basically base autopilot. When you turn this one on, it will navigate on autopilot. Right now we are getting close to exit 0.8 miles away, and it will basically take the exit and merge to the other side. And our exit is coming up. It slows down, turns on a signal, and it takes us out of freeway, and navigation will end very soon. Auto navigation will end very soon, and we are getting close, and base autopilot kicked in, and it is slowing down. Let's see if it stops at the sign. Autopilot navigation completed, it says. At the stop sign, we stopped, and we have to manually take it over to make a left turn and go back to our exit. And here we are getting back into freeway. Enhanced autopilot basically adds additional things when you are on freeway. For example, I turned on the navigation, I turned on the autopilot, and right now we should see this vehicle to change lanes if it thinks it is required to, or it has to change lanes to stay on route. Right now, for example, I want to make a left. I want to merge to the left lane. What I do is turn on the signal, and the vehicle makes a left turn, and it will keeps that going. And here it says that upcoming lane change, because it wants us to stay on route, and that's why every time it wants to change lane, it will ask for confirmation. And right now it wants me to confirm the lane change, and I'll confirm by pulling the turn signal, and it will see if it is safe to do so. It will basically try to merge the right lane, but there is a vehicle right on our right side, and when it sees that it is safe to do so, it just merges to that lane that it thinks we have to stay. Even though we are one mile away from our exit, it still wants us to be here, and it is still slowing down to let the traffic go. But in this case, I just press the gas or accelerator pedal to override it and force the vehicle to start moving forward instead of fully slowing down so that the other car merges into our lane. The good thing with autopilot, with any autopilot, enhanced, base, or full set driving, when you press the gas pedal, it will override the slowing down of the vehicle, and will move the vehicle forward. It will basically speed up. Right now we have to stay on these two right lanes in order to get Ventura, and as we are navigating on autopilot, it will keeps us here so that we don't forget our exit and go to our destination. And so far I didn't do anything to stay en route, because it is doing everything automatically, as it is looking at the map where we're going and just following that map. You can think of enhanced autopilot is that you have full self driving when you're on freeway, but when you get into streets, you have base autopilot. Basically, full self driving is cut in half. You have the option to have full self driving, navigating on autopilot, changing lanes, and everything that full self driving offers, but you do it only on freeway. When you get on regular streets, you have base autopilot. That's what I can say the difference is between enhanced autopilot and full self driving. And it's not time to check out the car with full self driving. And the first thing that we have to check out is summon. This one is called actually actual smart summon, also known as S, actual smart summon. When you go under summon section, and we see a few differences that comes with it, the comparison between enhanced autopilot that has summon, it is limited, but this one does not have any limitation. As you can see, it even shows all around the vehicle, because with the actual smart summon, you can put any destination on the map and the car will follow and go to that destination, because it's called smart summon. And when I turn off the Sentry mode, it doesn't show any information here. It doesn't show any camera views here, but if you want to see camera views, you just click on this button and you will have everything. The same thing, you can put any target that you want and click go to target, or you can press and hold and the car will just move forward or move backwards. Very similar to the car that has enhanced autopilot. Let's get into the car and I'll show you the difference there as well. So as always, we go to menu to software and see what kind of software this one has. It has full self-driving package included, and it has full self-driving computer 3. Right now, when you buy a new Tesla, new Model 3 and the new Model Y, they come with hardware 4, similar with Model S and X. But this one was the latest hardware until 2024 for Model 3. And when we go under Autopilot section, we see additional stuff that came up here besides traffic aware cruise control, basically adaptive cruise control, auto steer. Right now we have full self driving supervised. And when you click on supervised, usually it wants you to engage it with single pool. That's why it is grayed out, because you don't have an option to choose. Then you can choose full self driving to be chill, average, or aggressive. I usually go with chill because I don't want it to change lanes that often. And you can choose if you want lane change confirmation, minimal lane changes for current drives, expand full self driving visualization. You can when you click it on, every time you turn on full self driving, you will have all that map. I'll show you right now how it looks like. Automatic set speed offset, let's put this one on. And then we have actual smart summon, aka S, and there is some customization that comes with it. For example, you can choose how close the car can get to the obstacle, and there's something called standby mode as well. I don't usually recommend people turning this one on because it will consume energy. And with that said, let's get into the road and I'll show you how great full self driving is. When your car has full self driving, right away the visualization on the map is different, and it shows people, it shows everything around you, and streets, and basically everything. Right now we are on the same street that autopilot and enhanced autopilot rely only on lanes, as this street doesn't have any lane. We couldn't engage enhanced autopilot or base autopilot. But with full self driving, you can engage it anywhere. Right now I pulled and the full self driving is engaged. It will follow everything that it says around itself. And in this case, let's pull this map out so that we see everything very visible, and we see what the car is planning to do. Right now it stopped at the stop sign. I'm not touching anything, just so you know. It is doing everything by itself. It is paying attention to signs, it's paying attention to cars in front of it. Basically it's doing everything for you. When it sees, for example, that the car is parked off the street and it is blocking something, it merged to the left side, so it has enough space to cross the street without anything. And right now, for example, it is doing everything by itself. It stopped at the stop sign, it saw that the cars are coming, and it saw that it was the first car. That's why it started driving when other people, other cars stopped at the stop sign. Right now, I'm not touching anything. It's just navigating on autopilot. The only thing that I did was I put drive and I engaged full self driving, and it will see the car in front of it. It will see traffic light. It will slow down. It will stop if it is red, and just follow the navigation. As the vehicle is driving and navigating on autopilot, it sees that the speed limit is 40. But the good thing about Tesla or full self driving on Tesla is that you can override it or start driving faster by just pressing the gas pedal. And as you see, it speeds up, and it will just follow the navigation. Auto seat, everything is on, and it just keeps driving. You can basically override it, which is great because sometimes it slows down or it drives slow in the area that you could be driving fast. We are approaching the entrance to the freeway, and it will do everything by itself, and I will show you as well. So it turned on the turn signal and it is following the route, and it sees that turning left, the left arrow is red, and it understands that this lane must stop until it turns on green, even though the other traffic light is green and other cars are going straight. But in this specific case, the car understands everything and we are slowed down. The turn signal is on automatically and we are waiting our green turn signal. And turn signal is green and it starts driving. I'm not touching anything, and it merges to this specific lane and it just follows the route. As we are from 2 lane, we are merging into 1 lane. It turns on the turn signal, indicating other people that, hey, I'm merging to the left. As this lane is merging into freeway, merging into other lane, it turns on the turn signal and it merges to the lane that it wanted to merge because there is no other lane. And right now we are just following the route. It is not changing any lanes because it knows that in 0.9 miles we are basically taking different freeway merging to the right. That's why it is not acting crazy or it is not doing anything. This right now, I believe it should turn on the turn signal and merge to the right side, or it knows that these 2 lanes will go to a different freeway to where we are planning to go, and that's why it doesn't merge to the right lane. It just keeps this lane, and right now we'll turn on the turn signal and merge to the right side because this is where we have to be in order to follow the route. And as it sees the curvature, it slows down. It goes to 50, even though 48, and slowly turn to right as we are following the route. And as we get into a straight lane, what it does is speed up to 70. Right now I put 70 max speed, and it is automatically going to 80 and even slowing down to 68. And sometimes it's hard to guess what speed limit it wants basically to put. It relies on traffic as well, but also on the speed limit as well. I prefer to put it on 80, and it will see what everything is and basically adjust to specific road situations. And with full self driving, you can ask it to change lanes to the left side, to the right side with just turn signal. For example, I will ask it to merge to the left side, and it will be doing this with no problem. And as we have to make a right turn in 0.7 miles, it will basically merge to the right side for us to be en route. Here it is, and it will be, and it will try to stay en route. The greatest thing about latest FSD, from my opinion, is that when it looks at this cabin camera and it sees that you are paying attention to the road, it will not ask you to touch the steering wheel. In this trip, for example, you saw that it asked me many times because I'm holding a camera on my hand, and when it sees that you are holding something on your hand, or if you have like glasses and it cannot really pay attention, it cannot really see your eyeballs where they're looking at, it will ask you quite often to touch the steering wheel. But I love that, for example, when you watch something, you put something in front, like your cell phone, and you watch, you will not really see and understand that you are looking at your phone instead of looking at the road. That's why I will not ask you anything, you just keep going. And FSD is pretty aggressive with phones. When you pick up a phone, for example, in this case, I just picked up my phone, right? Looks like I'm, for example, texting something, and right away it shows me to touch the steering wheel. In some cases, it forces you, basically shows red the steering wheel with hands on the steering wheel, and starts beeping at you so that you pay attention. If you don't pay attention and keep looking at your phone, you will deactivate FSD for that specific trip. And in order to activate it again, you have to stop, have to park, and you have to start driving again. In some cases, I believe it asks, basically you have to close the vehicle, and then you have to open the vehicle again and start driving. Then it kicks in. It will give you, I believe, 4 attempts. If you failed, if FSD disconnected 4 times, then it'll ask you, it will disconnect FSD access for a week. So basically, for 1 week, you will not have FSD access. That's why you have to really pay attention when it beeps at you, when it forces you to take over, or it forces you to pay attention to the road, or whatever you are doing with your phone, take away your phone, or somehow hide or text holding your phone here so that the camera doesn't see your phone on hand. The other great thing about Tesla with FSD and enhanced autopilot is that parallel parking, or parking in general. For example, right now it sees that there's parking available right here, and in order to park there, I want to click on this and start auto park and let it do everything. I'm not touching anything, and it shows on a diagram how it wants to park. Let's put it on full, and reversing. Even if the rear there was car, and it was enough for it to fit in there from its calculation, it will do it automatically, and it parks really good. For example, it reversed, and then it will go back a little bit and move forward. And it wants to be absolutely perfect. That's it. It stopped, and let's get out and see how it parks. From my experience, it parks amazing. This case, it didn't do perfect job because the front is a little bit more space than rear. And I believe the reason why it didn't do the perfect job because park assist is unavailable. Basically, one ultrasonic sensor that is in the front is not working, and possibly that's why the front is not perfect, and it couldn't basically park perfectly. Might be because of that ultrasonic sensor, but overall, it did an amazing job. There's one more thing that I wanted to show is those cars, Tesla Model S and Model X from 2014, the end of 2014, and until 2016, they had the first autopilot ever that Tesla put in the cars, and that first autopilot is called highway autopilot. This highway autopilot, basically what it does is that it allows you to change lanes, and it doesn't matter if you are on the street and autopilot is on, you can turn on the turn signal, it will merge to that lane that you're wanting to merge, and it does the same thing on highway as well. This is not the perfect autopilot, especially after having FSD, but this was the first one that was possible, and right now it has the latest update. It is quite good. It has its limitation. It relies on only one camera in the front, and this camera is pretty old as well, and it doesn't always see lanes. The lanes must be clear for it to see. If there is snow or something like that, it cannot rely on lanes, and most likely auto steer will be unavailable. But with full self driving, for example, as it doesn't rely solo on lanes, you can drive it at snow or the place that doesn't have any lanes, as I demonstrated on the street that doesn't have any lanes. But overall, is pretty good. This was the first one ever, and then full self driving is the one of the latest that you could possibly purchase from Tesla. Alright guys, that's been it, and this is the full video that we went from base autopilot to enhanced autopilot to full self-driving, and to let me know which one you would prefer. My personal opinion is that if there's a good uh, deal to get full self-driving, I would absolutely go for full self-driving. And when I'm driving the car with full self-driving, I always use it, and I really prefer having full self-driving. Even though I like driving, but when it is a long trip or long drive, I'll always turn on full self driving. And even in the streets, when, for example, I'm watching something or I'm paying, not full, I don't want to fully pay attention on the street, just turn on full self driving, and it will just drive me. And sometimes I just want to lay back and let the car do its job. Well, and it does absolutely amazing job with parking, with driving on the street, paying attention to everything around it. It is absolutely amazing. There are, in rare occasions, there are some hicks that comes with it. For example, it slows down for no reason, but those moments are very very rare. And every a week too, when they are doing their updating their software, it is getting better and better and better. But at least if you are planning to buy a Tesla, just at least get the car that has base autopilot. When you see that it says autopilot safety features, forget about the vehicle, because buying an autopilot will cost you additional 3,000, which I don't want you to pay. I just pay attention to the car that you are buying that has at least base autopilot. If you got enhanced autopilot, that's pretty good as well. But if you got full self driving, but if that's absolutely top end. But usually you pay premium on a used market. It costs approximately $1,500 to $2,000 premium on the same vehicle. Let's say this car costs 20,000, and this car will cost 22,000 if they are identical. But this one has full self driving, and this one has base autopilot or enhanced autopilot. With that said, you guys, I hope that you enjoyed this video. If you did, give it a thumbs up, and if you drive a Tesla and you have base autopilot, enhanced, or FSD, and there's something that I missed in this video, please comment below so that other people could learn, or maybe they have a question that you could possibly answer. And with that said, you guys, see you in the next video. There will be a lot of video coming up about Teslas in the future. Bye bye.